all day. But maybe just buy this club. Callaway, well done. I mean, that's almost 3 bills. All right, guys, it's time for the Callaway Mini Driver review. This thing has blown my mind so far, and I'm really excited to take you guys through it. I think it might be the club you guys need. So let's talk about it. It is the Paradigm AI Smoke Ti340 Mini Driver. This thing is awesome. I have hit it a little bit. I'm saving most of the hitting for this video and some of the next ones I'm gonna have coming out about it, but I am impressed. First off, let's talk about the club head itself, because a lot of people are like, that's not very mini. Like, this thing is 340 cc's. An average driver is 440 to 460, which is the most allowed by the USGA. So 340 is not very mini. Now, for some context, the average 3-wood's about 150 to 200, kind of depending on the brand and model. I think the one I'm playing right now, the Paradigm Triple Diamond, is 170. So this thing is twice the size. So for some context here, 3-wood mini driver, yeah, this thing is definitely more than a 2-wood as well. This thing is quite a bit bigger. So a lot of people are probably like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna be able to hit that off the deck. That is what I thought, but as you're gonna see, it's a lot easier than you realize. So the club head itself, this one is a 13.5 degree. They have an 11.5, but for me, I was really just looking for a fairway finder. I don't hit 3-wood a ton into par 5s, but I also, did want to have an option as well if I do have that. But for the most part, I'm hitting hybrid or irons into par 5s just based on my driving distance. It does happen sometimes though. So again, I was hoping that if I did have a par 5, I could hit this off the deck. 13.5 will definitely do that. 11.5, I haven't hit it yet, but I was a little worried that wasn't quite enough loft. But as you'll see, it is much easier to hit from the turf than you realize. So what's great about this too is it does have an adjustable hosel. So I got 13.5, but I left it right now neutral standard. But you can take it down 1 degree, so it could go down to 12.5, or it could go up 1 or up 2. Also could turn it into a little bit of a draw setting. But the biggest thing for me was changing the weight ports here. So you can easily just use your wrench, change that out. I actually put the heavier weight right here, and that made a big difference in kind of flighting it down. I found when I was first hitting it, I was just kind of ballooning them up. So that's one thing that you can also do, plus the adjustable hosel. But the real difference here is the length of it. So it's 43.75 inches. For context, the driver that I'm playing, the Callaway Paradigm, 45.5. Most drivers are going to be 45 to 45.5. The maximum allowed by the USGA is 46. But the thing is with mini drivers, the reason these are so popular lately is because they're easier to control. Because a lot of times if you have a 45.5 inch driver, you cut it down a 1/2 inch or 1 inch, you're going to hit it a lot straighter. You're going to find the center of the club a lot more often, and you'll probably actually hit it nearly the same as you normally do with a better shot dispersion. So that's kind of what this thing made this great. But the problem is that at swinging 110 to 115 miles an hour, the stock shaft options were just not for me. So I did go ahead and get an upgraded shaft, which is the Project X Hazardous Black. 70 gram, 6.5, which is extra stiff, and it's the low spin model. So again, this one wasn't an option with Callaway. My friends over at Old Town Golf Shop hooked up this shaft, so if you need any shafts for your irons, woods, anything, make sure to reach out to them. They have some of the best deals. I'll link to their info down below, and I had the creator, Ryan, on my podcast as well. But again, the shaft is key, the length is key. It's a little bit longer than a 3-wood, but still much shorter than a driver. Obviously put my own grip on. But overall, just very impressed with the design of it. Love the head cover, love everything about it. Let's go see what it does at the sim. So I'd say the first thing to note here is that you're gonna have to change the tee height, because if you try and hit this from a normal tee, you're probably gonna get a sky mark or just really not make a good swing. So that's one of the first things I realized. I'm like, man, this is a very interesting design. Luckily, you can actually change the tee height on this thing, which we're gonna need to do. All right, so we got the right tee height, and again, we pretty much are hitting it just like a driver. I'm not playing it. You can move it a little bit, as you'll see, in terms of ball position. Scott Fawcett, the creator of Decade Golf, talked about that as well in our last episode, saying you can change the ball position with the Mini a little bit. You cannot or should not with a normal driver. So let's hit a few. Like, I did not hit that good. And that is gonna carry dead straight at 250, roll out to 270. And that was just not hit well. That was what we call a good miss. That was 104 miles an hour club head speed, 149 ball speed. So let's hit a few more. These golf balls have seen better days as well. Again, pretty good miss. Look how straight it is though. Another 250, rolls to 270. But the key here is actually being able to hit this thing off the deck. So it looks overwhelmingly big compared to a 3-wood, but watch what happens. Like, I feel like I can absolutely crush this thing off the deck. Look at that. That even went longer, almost 260 carry, 276 total, 255 carry, 152 ball speed, 107 head speed. So I think that for me, changing the weight, getting the heavier one up front was big, and then getting this shaft, because again, the 50-gram shaft it comes with, not gonna work. This is 70 grams. But I feel like I could be into a par 5 and be like, oh, no worries, take the Mini out. Almost got killed. Good thin miss. God, I killed that still. 260. That one went 280. So yeah, I gotta feel like I've been hitting 3-wood so long off the deck only. I actually do not tee a 3-wood up. So I'm kind of in the habit of it already with this. Oh God, that was good. Like if I could just get up and do this on tight holes where there's just desert everywhere here in Arizona, watch out, world. 281 total, 260 carry. See if I can hit a draw a little bit, see if I can change, because again, you can change ball position up, so I'm gonna move it just a hair back, so that way I'm kind of coming in a little bit more shallow and kind of get that path going right. Oh, when it doesn't register. Man, I hit that one good. So again, we'll move the ball back just a smidge. Oh, drew it. I actually can hit a draw. Oh my God. Look at that, 255, 278, 106. This club is an absolute weapon. Like, I can't believe how much straighter this goes than a normal drive. I've hit several not so good shots and they're just dead straight. All right, so we'll hit a few 3-woods here just for some context on how far this goes. I do not tee up my 3-wood ever since I switched to this club about 1.5 years ago. I just felt like if I teed it up, it got a little spinny. So I just throw it down on the tee box. Always a bold move, but for the most part, it's worked out very well. So let's see what happens here. You know, did not hit that well. About the same distance. The thing I just instantly realized is that this just feels so unforgiving compared to the Mini. Hit it pretty good. It's just about 10 to 15 yards less, not to mention a lot less rollout. So yes, the launch is a lot higher, but it's just not as forgiving. And I think that once I figure out that Mini off the tee, I think that'll help as well, probably add another 5-10 yards, because they're a little close on distance, but I can also tweak that Mini maybe down 1 degree just to give it a shot. Like that's as good as I can hit a 3-wood. And that lands right at 250. But again, a lot shorter. Let's see if we can hit a few harder mini drivers. I wouldn't say hard, but solid. Like that is absolutely beautiful. 270 carry. Oh, that's the one we need. 108 ball speed or club speed. See, that's what I'm looking for. 266 off the tee. Just those short par 4s that are kind of tight. You don't want to hit driver. Oh my God. Just mauling this club. Look at that. All right, guys, as you can tell, really liking the Mini Driver. And I think you should definitely consider it. If not the Mini Driver, consider shortening your shaft on the normal one. I think it'll make a big difference. But maybe just buy this club. Callaway, well done. I mean, that's almost 3 bills. So I like it because it's like very different. The tee height, you just gotta get comfortable with the weirdest tee height ever. But it's shockingly easy to hit off the deck. And what I might do is just tune my my hybrid down so there's not a bigger gap between this and that. But we will see. And the cool thing is I can mess with this based on the event or the venue, so maybe less loft or more loft. Let's try and hit a little 3/4 high one here. Little fade, just hitting it too good. Good job, Callaway. Ultimately, I think that you can make some magic with the Mini Driver, but again, make sure it is right for your game. Don't just add it in there unless it absolutely fits and replaces your 3-wood or maybe even your driver. The biggest thing I have realized from this is that a lot of us can benefit from a shorter shaft. The fact that this thing is close to 2 inches shorter than normal, I feel like I'm finding the sweet spot a lot more often, and I'm a pretty good golfer. So I really would recommend considering either taking your driver down a little bit with the help of a good fitter, or considering a Mini Driver, because again, it really can help and hopefully improve your strike. So you might lose a couple yards, but you might not, because you're actually gonna find the sweet spot more often instead of hitting them off the heel or the toe. So something to consider, but ultimately make sure every piece of your equipment is helping your game. Too many guys just have random clubs in there and they only use 10 of the 14 or really only like 12 of them, and there's a couple that just never really go very well. So make sure every piece of your equipment is helping your game so you can play wicked smart golf fast. If you want even more tips to improve your driving, make sure to watch this video next.